Happy Thursday, everyone. We got a fun little work set for you guys. It's a 6-rounder. We're gonna play with some single arm work today and get some core work going in there. But before we get to that, let's talk about our workout. Our warm-up is gonna consist of a plank, knee to nose for 2, into a down dog for 3 to 5 reps in total, quad plank for 3 reps with 10-second holds. So we're just gonna give yourself a little break in between each of those 10-second holds, even if it's just long enough to give a few scat push-ups, cat-cow curls, whatever you want to add in there, you can. Or you can just come down, reset, come back up into that 10-second hold. From here, we're going to lay on our stomach and arch up for 3 and 3-second holds, and we'll walk you through that. Or we can work on 6 alternating single arm with 3-second holds. Then you're going to move into a prone shoulder raise for 6 to 10 seconds. Arch hold, one of them, for 10 seconds. So we're just going to do one long arch hold, nice and smooth to close it out. So we have 1 to 2 rounds here, just to get things moving, get the core fired up, get heated up, and then we're going to start playing around with some more core work. So we have our laying L sit of 20 to 30 seconds, tuck hollow with extension of 20 seconds, laying toe touch, 20 seconds of dynamic movement, and then some lateral ski jump to high knees for 20 seconds. So a really nice opportunity to get things fired up, get the shoulders ready, core ready, and just get the really good internal heat going in that body. Once we're done that, we got 2 to 3 rounds. We're going to start warming up some movements that we're going to see in the work set. Get a little bit explosive, bit of practice round. But we're going to get our workout going. So we got 6 rounds. 6 beautiful V-ups. Not too many. It's a short little number. It's a fast little stint. So we have 6 V-ups into a single arm deadlift for 6 per side. And then we have 12 box jumps. So a nice fast little work set that doesn't cause too much grief, but it does start to wear you down later on because you can just cycle through this work set pretty quickly. So I hope you guys have fun with this one. Now we'll have some different options for the V-up. The single arm deadlift can be a little bit on the heavier side as long as we can maintain good position with that single arm and make sure we're staying nice and square. Box jump, we'll have some different options as well for you, but let's get you ready, let's get you warm, we'll have some fun on a good old Thursday. Okay, let's get our feet underneath those hips. Let's take those arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to reach over to one side, get big stretch over to the other side. Oh, come back through. We're going to forward fold, touch those toes. We're going to walk up the shins. We'll come down, framing the foot. We'll step back into our lizard. Nice and square, take that inside hand to the ceiling, and then we'll rotate. Getting that nice rotation in, big stretch. Rotate, we'll come back up, and then we'll rotate. Coming back up one more time, big tall reach, take that hand down, we'll step back into our down dog. Reaching through those hips, sending those shoulders, let's walk our heels. Nice and slow to start off, maybe giving yourself a little pause per side, just to see where it goes, see how it feels. Pressing the floor away, we'll step the other foot up. Nice and square, inside hand reaches to the ceiling, and we'll rotate. Forearm coming down, come back up, and rotate, and come back up, and rotate, and back up. And then from here, we'll plant that hand, stepping back into that down dog as we set those shoulders nice and strong, and just walk those heels again, perhaps maybe a little less, pausing. Floor with those heel presses, and then coming back to our plank, setting those good shoulders, tiptoeing those feet all the way in, and rolling ourselves all the way back up to standing. Little stretch, come down. Let's get you guys ready to go. Now, if you have any extra movement for yourself to take down for the legs, the upper body, who knows, wrists, shoulders, whatever you got to get going, please take some time now to get that going. We're going to come back at you with a nice chunk of core work to get things heated up from the inside out. Okay, we're going to kickstart off with a little plank knee to nose to down dog. So I'm going to get myself set up in my plank position. Good solid shoulder positioning through here. I'm going to pull one knee up the middle towards my nose. I'm going to return it back to my plank, and then return the other knee back into that plank, and then pressing through those shoulders. Find that nice active down dog. So I'm pushing into the floor, nice and strong through the upper back, and then I come back into that plank. resetting that engagement to move back in to that knee to nose. Now with the knee to nose, we're trying to keep our hips level as we pull that knee up the middle. We're not trying to shoot our hips high up into the air. So let's try and keep that nice and tight, that compression strength. Don't worry if you can't touch your knee to your nose, all right? But we can get a little rounding in the shoulders and that little cat back a little bit. But like I say, we're trying to keep our hips relatively level as we try and join the nose and the knee. It's a lot of compression, it's tough. Keep active on those shoulders and really work that core. Now once we're done that focus, we're gonna come down to our tabletop. We're gonna work on a quad plank. So our quad plank today, hands under the shoulders, wide fingers, knees under the hips, toes curled under. We're gonna push the floor away, pull the ribs in, and then lift those knees about an inch off the ground. So we're always pushing through the floor. We're squeezing everything in the center, holding that good flat position. Now in this tabletop, we're gonna hold for 10 seconds. With those knees about an inch off the floor, lower those feet down, or those knees down. You can do a cat-cow, you can do thread the needle, scat push-up. If you want to fill that gap between those reps, or you can just lower, reset the position to the shoulders, lift the knees up again, and hit another 10-second stint. So we're just giving ourselves little mini breaks in between those quad planks to reset, give ourselves a chance to get that tension back. After our 3 10-second holds, we're going to lay on our stomach, and we're going to extend our arms out to the front, squeeze our toes together, and we're going to work on 3 3-second arch holds. So we're going to inhale, reaching for length, holding for 3 seconds, and then lowering with control. Now the goal here is to reach for length, and that's what lifts the body up, so don't focus so much on how high we get, but how long we can make ourselves. Now with this also, with 2 hands, 2 feet is a little bit too much. You can work on 6 reps with that nice hold, alternating right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot, and just alternating back and forth in that nice alternating arch hold with a nice 3-second hold per side. So really working whichever one you want, take that down for yourself. Then what we're gonna do is bring ourselves back onto our stomach, nose and eyes close to the floor. Toes are gonna press into the ground. We'll pull the ribs in a bit, push the armpits down, and we're gonna work on our prone shoulder raise. So we have that good tension from pinky to pinky. We're gonna lift one arm up, holding that good position. We'll come down, pressing that arm into the ground. We'll lift the other arm up, and then press that arm into the ground. So we're working on alternating back and forth with those arms, reaching, lifting, and not worrying so much about how high we get, but how steady our core position and our torso is. Last but not least, we'll move right into a 10-second arch hold again. You can work on that double leg, single leg, same options. If we're doing the single, you can choose to do 5 seconds per side or 10 seconds per side, depending on how much volume you want to spend in that arch hold. As a quick recap for that opening piece, we have a plank knee to nose for 2 reps to down dog, 3 to 5 reps in total through that little complex. Quad plank for 3 reps, 10-second holds each time. Remember interspersing maybe some cat-cows, thread the needle, scat pushes in between those reps if you'd like, or not. Arch up for 3 at 3 seconds, or 6 total count reps with those 3-second holds. Prone shoulder raise, 6 to 10, alternating. Arch hold, 10 seconds, 1 to 2 rounds. Take that down. Get that heat going on the inside and just get ready for action. Now from here, we're gonna move into the next phase, which is gonna be a little bit more core work. So be prepared to get that compression strength worked on. It's gonna be a good burning time. So pause it, rock that first piece, come back and join me for some more core work. All right, our next phase of work is gonna kickstart off the laying L sit. So we got 20 to 30 seconds in this. I have my dumbbell that I'm gonna use for my demo for my deadlift, but whatever you're using for your deadlift, we can use that as an anchor. If you have a couch or table or something that you can anchor your arms to, you can use that as well. I'm gonna choose to use the dumbbell. You guys can play with whatever you have at home. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay down. We just have to measure ourselves out a little bit so that my arms are long and I have nice straight arms holding onto that anchor point or pressing against the couch or holding onto the stool, whatever you got going on. Just make sure if you're using something besides a weight that it's pretty stable, that you can press into and it's not gonna move. So I'm gonna pull and press into that dumbbell a little bit, keeping my arms straight. My armpits are facing up towards the sky. I'm gonna slide my feet up into a little mini bridge position. I'm gonna pull my ribs in so there's contact. I'll pull my knees into a soft tuck, and then I'm going to extend my legs up to the sky in that L position. So I'm actively pressing against the dumbbell. I'm pulling my ribs in so I'm in that little hollow, and I'm pointing those toes and squeezing them together in that L. So I'm going to hold this for 20 to 30 seconds, maintaining that tension. Now if you feel your shoulders turn off or your core turn off, come out of it, all right? Bank some time, go back into it. But we want to make sure we're banking active time in these laying L sits, okay? It's really easy just to lay here with your legs up in the air, but it's a little different situation when you have that tension on the upper back, those lats, the core. We want to make sure we're using this as a tool to build that engagement as we use the floor for assistance. Now after that, we're going to move into our tuck hollow with extension. So my hands are going to come down the side. I'm going to pull my ribs into that soft tuck. Then I'm going to pull into a hard tuck. So I'm going to pull my shoulder towards my knees. I'm going to squeeze into that tuck position. Then I'm going to try and maintain that tuck position as I extend those legs into that position, that nice extension for the hamstrings. So again, with this is a pretty stressful position on both the core and the hamstrings. As we're doing this, if you cannot straighten your legs all the way, just extend them to where you feel that hamstring say, woo, there it is. All right, so just that little pause. But we're still trying to maintain that close proximity of shoulder and knee in that hard tuck and that compression strength. So try your best to keep that tight tuck as we extend those legs. The knees might come away from the shoulders a bit, but we don't want them to disappear completely. Now right after that, we're going to triple whammy that core, because we're going to get that core tight, into that soft tuck. Toes come straight up into that L position again. But this time I'm going to reach my fingers towards my toes. I'm going to squeeze my sternum and belly button together, creating that little roll up as I try and tie my shoes in that laying toe touch. Now with the laying toe touch, we're trying not to use any momentum. So we're trying to roll our back up, roll our back down by using that core compression, which is going to be a little fatigued by the time you get there. But we have 20 seconds of work there, so we're not really concerned about reps. We're more concerned about that quality of compression that you're squeezing into. Now after that, we get to stand up a little bit. We get to work on some dynamic jumping. So we just want to make sure that our dumbbell or our space is clear, because we're going to work on a lateral jump. Now you can do one of many things actually in this regard, whatever suits your needs. You can work on just the lateral ski, all right, so that nice swing jump. You can work on the lateral step with that swing step. Or if you'd like to add in this vertical jump with the high knee, or just a high knee, you can do that as well. So we're going to add in the high knee, we swing, we get our balance, and go into the high knee jump. Swing, up, swing, up. The big thing we find with this one is that people try and go vertical too soon. Make sure you control the lateral energy first so you can change directions into that nice little pop up vertical. Now if you're just learning this movement and you're like, yeah, I'm not quite ready to jump, but I want to try and change my direction, you can work that swing, stand high knee, and get the balance. Swing, high knee, get the balance, and start working on building that body control and that controlling of the energy side to side, and transition it into a vertical position. So a couple different things you can play with there. You have 20 seconds of just steady state flow there. So don't rush, don't feel like you have to try and push the pace there. It's more about quality of movement, good quality jumping, and just getting a good flow going. As a quick recap, we have a laying L sit for 20 to 30 seconds, focusing on those engaged points. Tuck hollow with extension for 20 seconds. Laying toe touch for 20 seconds, trying to keep the momentum down, keep it strict and tight, and then our lateral ski jump plus high knee, or one of those options we just went through for 20 seconds We have 2 to 3 rounds there. It's going to give you a chance to really kind of move the body around a little bit, also heat that core up and get ready for some more compression strength in the workout. But we'll pause the video, take that down. We're going to go through a few things in the work set that we haven't covered yet and give you some options for what's to come. All right, you guys, we made it to the work set. So before we start the workout, let's hit a couple practice rounds to get the heart rate up, get a good flow going with the work set. But the workout itself is 6 rounds, 6 V-ups or a V-up option, which we'll go through right away, 6 single arm deadlifts per side, and then 12 box jumps or box jump variations. So our V-up options are pretty standard in terms of what we got going on here. I'm gonna lay on the floor again and get you guys kind of going with this. We have our traditional V-up, which with that long body, toes together, we snap both hands and feet together into that nice lift, reaching for those toes. We can also work on a single leg V-up, which helps, again, create that nice lift and reach for the toe as we meet at the hip. Now, if straight leg is a little bit too much in terms of load on the body, we can work into a tuck. So working into that tuck position, we can work into a single leg tuck as well, but still, again, meeting at that middle position at the hip, both upper and lower. Now, if you find it really challenging getting both halves working at the same time, you can work on a slightly different range of motion and work on our hollow up. So we're getting those arms nice and strong above. We pull the ribs in, we lift hands and feet into a very subtle little hollow. So they're not super fast, but they are a nice contraction and getting both upper and lower body going. Now, if we can't do 2 hands, 2 feet, what we can work on is a single leg, pulling the same activation, but keeping one foot down and alternating back and forth so we can get that primary focus of what that low back is doing, and we get that hollow so there's no space between the low back and the floor. Now with this, if we still struggle and we're like, you know what, when I try V-ups, it's really, my legs are just coming up, my upper body's not really doing a lot. We can work on our laying toe touch that we worked on in our warm-up, or we can work on a slightly faster variation, which is the pike sit-up. My toes are together, I sit up, using my arms and using a little bit of momentum to get that little lift going. We get a little stretch in our hamstring, we get a nice pike position. I really like pike sit-ups, they're a lot of fun, they're fast, and we get a nice little stretch and core burn at the same time. But allowing yourself to use that momentum is totally legit and totally fine with that. It's a fast-paced sit-up. So there's a few different options. I'll have a couple other ones on the bottom of the workout description as well. Check those out. Pick the one that's going to help you get the most out of your core work today in the workout to rock those V-ups. Now our next exercise is a single arm deadlift. So we're going to work on a sumo deadlift. So we're going to stand right over top of the dumbbell. My hand is going to stay in between my feet. I'm going to stay nice and upright. I'm going to pull myself down towards the dumbbell, and I'm going to stand up. Now, with this movement, you can take it anywhere in terms of depth below the knee after that first rep, depending on your mobility and what you can maintain in terms of your back position. So from the side, I'm drawing those hips back as the dumbbell comes to the knee, then I lower my body down a little deeper than I normally would for a deadlift if I'm going to touch the floor with the dumbbell, because it's a longer way down. So what I'm going to have to do is work on a little bit more range of motion. Now, if you're just taking to the knee or just below, you'll have a slightly higher hip, and you'll have a slightly different body position, but the hinge is the same. That nice, strong back position is always there, regardless of how deep we go, and that is really going to be the deciding factor of how deep we go. If you can't maintain that good back position, I don't want you going beyond those points. Loading for this can be on the heavier side. Again, as long as our points of performance and our back position is being upheld, we can go as heavy as we need to for 6. You shouldn't have a weight that's heavy enough that you can't do 6 in a row. It should be relatively steady. But if you have to do 6, put it down and go, whoo, and then do 6 again, that's fine, all right? But keep in mind, we can experiment with some heavier loading if you have it at home. Now our last movement is the box jump. So I have a box here. If you have a bench, a stair, a step, something, an ottoman that's stable and you're comfortable jumping on, jump away. If you're like, I'll have some options for you as well. But with the box jump, we're gonna get about a foot away from the apparatus. We're gonna pull ourselves into that power position. So we're gonna get those arms involved and pull into that power position, and then we're going to jump. We're gonna stand up nice and tall. We'll step down to save those ankles, knees, and hips. So from here again, stand, we step down. The other variation, if you have an apparatus that doesn't allow you to jump, it's not stable, you're like, I don't really feel comfortable jumping, you can work on that step up. All right, so you can work on back and forth, that nice smooth step up, opening those hips and knees, and or if you'd like to play around with this one, you can work on a lateral step over. The lateral step over, not so important that we open up the hips or the knees. You can get that little mini hop going back and forth if you'd like. But again, I prefer people to keep that foot up on the box for that lateral step. Again, you can bring it down, but I always say this motion right here, not a huge amount of gain in comparison to if you don't get that foot up, you're gonna be tripping and tumbling over that box. So in terms of the agility side of things, you'll get a ton of agility just moving back and forth, side to side, leaving that leg up on there without that risk of tripping. So keep that in mind, leave that foot up there. It's also a nice way to open up your ankle and your hip as you lower down, trying to keep that foot nice and flat. Now if you don't have an apparatus you're comfortable jumping on, I'll have a few options there, but these are two of my favorites. We have our vertical power jump, so I pull into that same kind of power position I would for my jump, except I'm just going to jump on the floor. So I swing, up, up, up. And I work on my jumps that way, taking them down in big or small sets, depending on what you're comfortable with, but keeping it nice and aggressive and fast in the turnover. And we really want to focus on the landing, so we're always landing soft and we're landing pretty smooth in that position. So we shouldn't feel a lot of impact on those jumps. Now my other favorite, personal favorite, is the broad jump. We get that same swing, we pull back into that power position, except we jump forward in our broad jump, landing again in that power position with those knees slightly out, those hips back, in that nice absorption of that impact. So we have a few cool options for that box jump. I will have a few other ones available to you on the workout description, so check that options. Pick your workout, make this one yours, you guys. I hope you enjoy it and you have a lot of fun with it. It's relatively quick, all right, but it does pack a punch. I remember doing this one not too long ago, and it got me breathing pretty heavy. So I hope you like it, I hope you enjoy it, and enjoy this one. As always, work for quality, have a ton of fun, keep the song going. We got today, and then we have our Christmas Eve workout. So be prepared, have some fun, you guys. I'm looking forward to it. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow to bring in the holidays. Bye.